For months, teachers and advocates have been calling for greater safety measures and also consistency among different school districts to try to keep everybody safe. Well, right now, the Connecticut Education Association, or CEA, which represents more than 60,000 public education employees, is calling on the state to enact specific policies on how to handle COVID-19 cases and outbreaks in school. And joining me now once again to talk about those efforts, the president of the CEA, Jeff Leake. Jeff, it's been a while since I've gotten to speak to you. So let's get right into it. Thank you for joining us. First of all, what is the single greatest concern this union has about the whole reporting process that districts are using?
So what we're finding out is that in various districts, things are just not the way they should be as we reopen schools, as we get to opening schools. By that, I mean, in some districts, PPP supplies are not in a quantity that's necessary. We're also concerned that in many cases, the deep cleaning that's supposed to take place between the entrance of different cohorts of students in schools is not able to be carried out. One district we know, they've actually lessened their custodial staff, and yet they expect them to be able to do this deep cleaning. We're concerned that not all districts, and I want to emphasize that some districts are quite ready to continue along this pathway of opening schools and doing the best we can for kids. But the bottom line is that there are way too many districts out there that simply are not ready right now, and we're concerned about that. In some districts, there's not the conversations that needed to be taking place between our union leaders. By the way, we don't represent over 60,000. That's us and other unions who are in schools. But those conversations have not been taking place in some districts. The agreements about how things are going to work have not been implemented, and so we're very concerned about that.
Now, when you mention the deep cleaning process, of course, we're talking about usually, I think most school districts, there's one day in between the two cohorts, like a Monday, Tuesday cohort and Thursday, Friday. Are you referring just to that, or are you also referring to what we've seen is usually a 2-day process when there is a positive test to deep clean an entire school? Are those long enough in most cases, or is it just a factor of how much custodial staff there is?
I think it's both of those things. And clearly for us, we have been working with our teachers, the other staff in schools to try to open up schools as safely as possible. Obviously, given what's happening and the number of cases that are closing schools down, I think it was Trumbull that just closed the whole school because 70 some odd folks had to be quarantined. There's a concern, for example, about what we're going to do when teachers are not able to come in either because they test positive or they're in quarantine. What's going to happen there? We have school districts that know that they don't have the substitutes to take care of those kids who are in school. So it's a concern all over the place. And I would just say this. I have applauded this governor and what he's done to put us in the safe place we have been in as a state. But we've done that because we've done things across the state. We didn't say to West Hartford, you decide how to open your bars and restaurants. We said, here's what's going to happen across the state. And that's what we think should happen in schools as well. I know there's this independent town thing that Connecticut gets so proud about sometimes, but the bottom line is we think we need a more universal approach to handling these incidences that are taking place in our schools and ensuring the safety of everyone. I don't want to have to go to visit someone, one of my members in the hospital, for example, or worse, because we haven't taken care of this. The other thing we haven't done, of course, is really institute any sort of a testing policy. We need to get on top of this.
And we're almost out of time, but can you give me some bullet points on what you think those universal policies would be and how you can reconcile that with the fact that there are differing amounts of help and work and custodial staff and whatnot in these different school districts?
So underlying all of this, of course, is our own safe opening plan that we put out and then revisited in August. There's also the core principles that the various unions agreed on. Things like making sure that the distancing factor is observed in all places. We're hearing from teachers, especially at the elementary level, where a lot more kids are coming into school. They're not even in some cases 3 feet apart, and so that's a concern of ours. Our teachers are concerned because obviously they are much more vulnerable to this virus than even little kids are, and so we need to get this right. We need all districts to make sure they are following the state guidelines that are in place. But in some cases, we think that means the governor should probably put in place even stricter policies.
Okay, Jeff Leake, the president of the CEA, thank you so much for giving us your time and your update. And please keep us updated on the CEA's efforts. Of course, we get 7 hours of news every morning. We should have you on a lot more often to talk about some of those bullet point specifics. So thank you for the time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
have a good day.